Hey everyone, Rob Gagne here with Boveda. Welcome to another Unboxed Live edition. Please leave your comments over in the side chat bar. I want to know who's out there. This is an exciting cigar. Hopefully I piqued your interest. It is a cigar that's been on the market before, went away, and has now come back. Let's hear some guesses over off into the side because I'm going to tease this out for a little bit. Now this cigar was previously made by La Aurora, and the new maker of the cigar is Henderson Ventura over at William Ventura factory. So that being said, this cigar also has somebody who's been in the industry for quite a while. They worked for another company and then ended up having to move and relocate, thus spawning this idea of like, hey, maybe I should start up my company again. And if you haven't already guessed it, anyone in the messaging, we are looking at, and I believe you pronounce it, Baracoa, the Voyage by Danny Vazquez. This is one of the first edition boxes that the lounge called Sun's Cigar Lounge released these cigars. You can go to Sun's Cigar Lounge and you can order the cigar there. There's going to be other people as well. We're going to point you into the direction to get the cigar. But more importantly, I got Danny in the back room. Let's bring out Danny and welcome him to the show. Danny, thank you so much for joining me.
What's up, man?
Dude, this is amazing. I am so excited to try your cigar. I smoked it last night for the first time because this literally hit my mailbox yesterday, and I got on the phone with you, and I know you've been super busy because you said yesterday, you're like, my phone has been blowing up.
Yeah, 100%.
So you got a lot of people who are trying this now, and they just can't wait to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I mean, from the text messages, the inboxes, the tag notifications on Instagram and Facebook, and you're just like, holy hell. And then, you know, trying to do other things throughout your day. You're just like, I literally would have to put my phone down or put like I can't. It just doesn't stop ringing or whatever. So
I don't blame you.
And yeah, so
what's the
man,
blend,
I appreciate it.
Let everyone know what the blend is because you can speak to it the best.
Yeah, so it's so the first time was a Corojo wrapper, Dominican Corojo wrapper. This time it's an Ecuadorian Corojo wrapper that I just love. I think it's beautiful and it has all the notes that I want. So again, like you said, this is from the Ventura factory now in DR and not La Aurora. So it's what I wanted was the same blend with a different chef's take on it, right? Like, does that make any sense, right? So it's like, I mean, you could give us all the exact same leaves, and there's a chance that, you know, they're not going to come out the same. And that's what I wanted. I'm a huge fan of Henderson and his brand that he owns and the brands that are coming out of that factory. That it was really the first factory that I reached out to that I wanted to work with, and here we are. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now you've done 2 different podcasts so far after the launch. You've been on Cigar Dojo and you've been on Hot Ticket, and I would welcome anyone to go out there and listen to those. But I really did learn a lot from those. The whole reason for your move away from Romacraft was really for your family because your daughter has a blood clotting disease that you needed to get her. Basically, what you guys found out was Texas was a little too dry and Florida's a little bit more humid, and that just works for her to not have the bleeding problems that she was having. So you made the decision, and it was kind of quick and fast because of schooling. Romacraft, Steve and Mike, they're very gracious people, and I'm assuming they just took your notice as like, hey, you got to do what's best for your family, and blessed you with, hey, go do you.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, they we tried to talk about it, but it was just like, no, she has to go. I'm like, now it's bad, right? So, George Bryman, what's up, brother? Yeah. I mean, there was no ill will. There's no, someone made a comment once. It's like, yeah, no one ever gets fired. Everyone leaves. Like, no, it's what happened. So relax. So
yeah.
But no, we left on good terms. I went and visited when I went back to Texas recently. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I think is most interesting is that you didn't plan on, you literally just said, hey, I got to move. It's for my family's benefit. And literally within your 3-week notice, the FDA regulations kind of got ceased. And we talked a little bit about that. Just for people out there, what does that mean for you as a brand owner? That kind of meant like, hey, I can gamble here and I can relaunch my brand because there's kind of a halt in what they call the predicate dates.
Right. No, I mean, well, more so than the Voyage, being able to bring the Voyage back out, or our cigar from before, it's that I can come out with other things on top of it, right? 3 SKUs, 1 blend, it's never going to be a real company. It'll just be like a side hustle thing. So that's really more the intriguing part, is being able to come out, because I could have come out with the Voyage and just that, and if whatever, because it was before that date. But well, what does it mean moving forward? How long does indefinitely mean, right? No one really knows.
Right.
And you kind of mentioned it, is like, is it a gamble? It's like, well, yeah, but so is me getting a corporate IT job, right? Like,
yes.
I could get fired 2 days, or I could jump out the window, right? Like, who knows? So, this is just a way for us to kind of control, ourselves, but just the passion and love is back in it, right? So.
Absolutely. You're looking at it as like, hey, yeah, I could have just released the Voyage and kept that going, but really what you wanted to do is launch a cigar brand. So you need to be able to keep launching new blends. And I guess the only quote unquote gamble is what ends up happening down the road if they decide to separate premium cigars from all these regulations that they were trying to stick on us. That's the part that you're gambling on, is you're going, hey, I think there's enough evidence that we saw from the litigation, the court cases that were happening to say like, hey, this is separate, keep them separate, totally different. And the judge clearly said that they had no really jurisdiction there on
and they
understanding that.
Yeah, they didn't have their stuff together. Sorry, like, you got to know what you're doing, so stop. So
which is great for us, because now we get to try the blends that you're going to start creating. And that's the other thing I learned is like your goal, obviously, and I don't want to pigeonhole you because this is always the topic, is like you want to come out with 9 SKUs and basically 3 different blends. Can we say that? 3 different blends?
Yeah, like 3. All right, so Voyage and second blend, or a second wrapper, and then looking at or working with a full body cigar or brand next, completely different from the Voyage.
Right. Talk about that second wrapper idea, because a lot of companies do this. They take the exact same blend that they have internally, the fillers and the binder, and then they put a new wrapper on it to give it a different flavor profile. Right. That's pretty common. We've seen that with Romacraft and a bunch of other brands. That's what you're looking to do next, because that's obviously you already have this blend done, and now you can just start playing with wrappers, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, but it isn't just hey, I want to come out with a Voyage in a different wrapper. If it doesn't work in another wrapper, then it's not going to come out in another wrapper.
No, you got to test it, right? You got to smell it all. You got to see if it works.
Right.
I mean, you're not just going to produce another wrapper to stick another SKU on the shelf.
Right. And I don't necessarily mind minute changes in the filler potentially with in regards to the amount of the different leaves, or but for me, if you're changing the binder and a bunch of the filler, then it's just a new brand or a new blend. So just try, just name it something else then. Yeah, I don't, because it'll be very different. So
perfect. So that's fun, because then that means not only are we going to try to experience new cigars, then you have a whole nother cigar that's completely new blend for us to look forward to. So if people are out there trying to get their hands on the Voyage, obviously we're going to try to point you in the right directions to get your hands on these boxes, and Danny's doing a hard job at getting these sold out there. But there's more to come this year, hopefully, or next year. But I'm excited just to see what else is coming, because I really like this cigar. Now, did you, back in 2016, did you specifically pick this like kind of medium bodied, not super in your face, to try to gain a lot of attachment to the cigar so that anybody could smoke this? Because this is a cigar I would give to anybody
right,
easily.
No, that statement right there, and it is really, this is, you know, the cliche of like, well, if nobody buys them, you know, I'm gonna have a cigar I'd love forever, right? But it's kind of, when you have that kind of in mind, it's like, well, I want a cigar that's for any and every occasion, and it isn't like, it's, you know, I haven't eaten and this and that. For the like, and again, we're talking about 2016, right? So I just wanted something I could smoke every day without getting tired of it. And I think that the complexity and the flavor profile in there is exactly what's happening, right? And you know, I'm not saying it'll be the only cigar I smoke. Obviously, I'm not that guy. But yeah.
Is anyone really that guy? Can you just smoke one cigar? I mean, there's certain people out there that have a cigar that they love. I know them.
Right.
They always grab the Monte Cristo White or whatever. But come on, be honest. People who are diving into your brands, they want to try them all. Yeah.
And, you know, that's an old school mentality type of way. The guy, you know, this is what I smoke. You know, I smoke those white owls or whatever they were called back then. So, no, absolutely. But at the same time, what was important for me the most is that, you know, you bought a box of cigars. Thank you for that, Rob. Was that first cigar that you smoked yesterday is as good as the one you're smoking now, and then the last one out of the box. Right. Again, kind of like we were talking about earlier, it's just like, I never really talk about flavor and you know, if I'll say tasting notes and this and that, maybe if I know the person, but it's tough because if I say no, there's, you know, hints of cocoa and leather, and then the person smokes it and they don't pick that up, you know, whatever. Or let's say they don't like the cigar, they just didn't agree with them. Well, I never tried to sell you on that. What I tried to sell you on was the cigar is going to burn great. You're going to have a great construction quality.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Danny. I got to play devil's advocate. I love you're going down quality, but what hypes me about a cigar, when they give me just a little bit, I go, oh yeah, I got to try that. And my mouth starts to actually salivate. Like I'm like, I like you know, if they're like, hey, I like this. And the other thing so talk about that. Like, do you think that people should be buying that way? Or you're clearly on the other side of the fence. That's like, you should buy on construction quality. Do you like the cigar per your palate? I'm not going to tell you what your palate should taste. I want you to decide. But how do you toe the line between giving the customer enough to want to pick it up and try it, and also leaving it open-ended for them to decide if they liked it?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, if the person, and now we're gonna assume it's someone that doesn't know me, doesn't know the blend, doesn't, you know, right? And they come up to the table and like, hey, how you doing? Hey, tell me about your cigar. We're like, okay, well, here you go. Here's kind of the blend, and here's, you know, the factory and this and that. And okay, is it sweet or, you know, whatever? Let's say that I don't know, or then I'll go into it. It's like, here's what I get from it. We get some hay, we get some natural sweetness, some cacao, some you know, some barnyard in there. And I know those things sound really weird, but when you blend those things together, it makes this cigar that, you know, I love, and, you know, I really think you'll love it also. So it's tough. I'm really reactionary depending on the person in front of me, you know, as far as how to take that. But
that's in-person sales, not online sales. Or like when I go to your website and I read about the cigar, even if I can't buy it from you, I want to know what I'm getting into as far as a flavor profile.
Sure. Yeah, well, one, nobody go to my website. It's terrible. But two, it's, yeah, no, I mean, you have a good point. You know, yeah, I would talk about, like, if it was in a typed out, like, blog form or bio form, sure, I'll pick up, you know, I would mention, hey, you know, these are the notes that we get from it. But I'm afraid of telling someone what to taste, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like there's some guys, or guys, I don't say guys, but I call everybody guys. There's people that, there's the power of suggestion, right? It's like, oh man, it tastes like Cocoa Puffs to me. It's like, oh dude, I tasted it. Oh, awesome. So I don't want to do that either.
Well, and how redundant is it to say that the cigar is slightly sweet? It has cacao in it. It has leather notes in it. It has hay, barnyard, all those things. Yeah, it's like, okay, so every single cigar practically you could check and be like, somewhere down the line it has that because of the fermentation process. So I totally agree with you. I just wanted to challenge you a little bit because...
Oh, no, sure. I love it.
As you think, like if I were in your shoes, I'd be like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? How do I tell people, yes, you want to try this, but no, I don't want to pigeonhole your flavor experience?
Right. So, yeah, sometimes you can call them up, man, just buy it and try it. You'll like it.
I like that much better. Yeah. You should try this. And to be honest, I think you should try it because, again, it's just an everyday smoker for me. I would give this to anybody and not feel bad about giving them it because it's out of their flavor profile, whether they're a seasoned cigar smoker or brand new. And I love that about certain cigars. You talk about wanting to come out with a more powerful cigar. Right. Well, that's where I start to hesitate on, okay, this is going to be for the right people that I know. But things like this cigar, the Voyage, anybody.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, but even with a full body cigar, that would be the goal. It wouldn't necessarily be to punch you in the face, but it would be to have that kind of more thicker, meatier kind of aftertaste of the cigar that you would do late at night, after a big meal or with some heavier drinks, right? Something like that, but still smooth and maybe even just creep up on you, right? You're halfway through it and you're like, oh, okay, there it is, right? But not necessarily something that's from start to finish, kicking out. So
I agree with you. I think you can still have the power and still be balanced. And I think that's where the true blending comes in. Like that's where it's like, man, nailed it. This is powerful, but yet well-balanced. I can't taste anything that's sharp and off the charts. And that's the only note that it has. So yeah. With that being said, I do want to talk about, okay, if I put myself back in your shoes and I go, okay, great. I got the boxes. I got the cigars made. Don't have like you said, don't really have a really, really good website. Where do I go to sell this? You've been, because of your tenure in the industry, working with Romacraft, getting connected with retailers, you talked about retailers are going to really help you get this brand out.
Right.
And you coined a term that I'm sure everyone knows, but I want to make sure everyone at home knows what it means is you're picking retailers that hand sell or hand select their humidor.
Right.
Explain what that means to you as a brand owner and how that impacts the customer's experience, because we're all here as the customer and we want to know, who are these retailers that hand select? I mean, don't drop any names if you don't want to, but what is that for me?
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny how the landscape has kind of changed over the last 5 or 6 years, which I've also mentioned, but from a customer standpoint, like if you look at a cigar shop, the humidor is the living, breathing heart of that. I mean, that's what pays the bills, right? So I talk about, there's a lot of great shops, but I use this guy as an example all the time because it's just, he checks all the boxes. But so in Meridian, Idaho, with a population of like 107,000 people, is one of the most interesting cigar shops in the country, called Vault 1905, owned by Josh Everts and his wife Lori. And it was a shop that was put with the customer in mind first. So that lounge is built comfortably, beautifully, high-end, quality, TVs everywhere. And then Josh and his wife actively curate that humidor, meaning these are the cigars that, we personally are doing great on the market. We believe our customers were like, and the customers and the buying and the transactions are kind of what depict what go in the humidor, right? But Josh knows every SKU in there. and he knows his customer very well, and he knows what they would like, what they wouldn't like, and I mean, that's it. You
That's
know,
the key.
that's the key. Knowing your customer, knowing your humidor, um, and and curating it in a way that is great for your people, not what the internet says you should do, right?
Exactly.
So, you have a shop like that, or Hogshead Cigar out in Virginia, the other side of the country, Tabacology. These guys, they work it, and they're in their humidor, and they know their people. They know their people like to try new things, and are actively smoking in their humidor, right? And it's like, well, let me try these. They move things around. They see where cigars are better in humidification and not. I mean, that level of in your humidor. So
Absolutely.
those were guys that I had really, really great relationships with already, because there were conversations I could have, not just like, hey, well, what do you have for limited editions? Like, no, like, core is the core of the business. So let's worry about core first, right? So
Right.
being able, not having to kind of preach that right away is great to me, because I can focus energy in other areas where it's like, hey, here's the new cigar. Okay, cool. Here, new cigars on the shelf. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Right.
We bought 5 boxes of each size. Thanks. We'll see you later. Like, oh, okay, cool.
And there it goes to sit and
And
rest and
they're
die on the
right
shelf.
because if you got 1,500 SKUs in your humidor, and I've got 3 of them, right? It's like, well, it's just going to disappear. Now, hey, I'm happy to take your money, but at the same time, it's like it's never going to grow. And maybe what you ordered could have went to a store that is boiling it out,
Exactly.
right? And now I'm supporting that store.
That's valuable to you because that's currency, because you need to say, hey, not only do I want to sell these to you, I want to make sure that you pass them out to your customers.
Right.
And if they like them, which I think they will, now we're starting to sell and everyone's starting to benefit from it because everyone's experiencing a better cigar or a new cigar or something that they never had before. It's very interesting that you said that too, because back in my days in retail, it was like, hey, why don't we carry this cigar? Well, I would ask Cole and Cole would be like, we did, but it didn't sell well. It doesn't work for our clientele's flavor profile.
Right.
That's everything. And I love the fact that you're matching yourself up with people like that are going to do that to your cigar. They're going to put it out there. The people are going to test it, and they like it. Then they know, hey, here we go. We can invest more in Danny's brand.
Right. And, I don't expect them to exclusively only sell my cigar. I mean, I'm not crazy like that, but will it be a suggestion, at least a suggestion for someone, right? Will your employees smoke it? Will your customers mind if I come and do an event? Like, are people going to, so things like that. Now, on the flip side, sometimes you don't know where that store is going to be. Sometimes it could be a store that you signed and you got in and you had no idea they were going to take off the way they did. Right. And so there is a little bit of that. We had that conversation. You're like, hey, they seems to be a fit. You don't necessarily 100% know. You don't have that relationship yet. And then you try it out. All right. And you give them 100% effort, and then it falls on them. Like, hey, you ordered cigars. I got them for you on time. I sent you stickers. We did a cut and light. I met your customers, met your employees. I gave them T-shirts. Now it's time for you to point at my cigar every once in a while. I tried to introduce it, but if it's going to be like, hey, we do event orders, you do your event, and then your cigars go away, and then the next event. Now, like, I get that's a huge bump in sales every month, right? So it's tough to pass that up, but I'm not at a place where I would be super successful in a store like that just current right now for not for no fault of theirs. It's just I'm not there yet, and they're not.
So hand select really means to you, or hand sell really means to you, is like they're going to take your brand, try it for themselves, and then understand how to match that to their customer's profile of like, I know what you smoke, and I know you're going to like this. You should try it. Not just you should try it because it's new. Right.
Because if let's say there's someone that absolutely hates Corojo, and they say, oh, this is a new cigar, and the guy tries, like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, you don't know.
And then some guy walks by the cigar, he's like, no, it's trash. Like, well, there's 2 guys now. right? So, um,
And that's just a personal preference. Like I find it interesting as
right,
how well does a cigar burn? How well does it taste? All that. There's so many variables that are right here in my
right,
control to make
right,
sure that I'm trying that cigar and giving it a fair shake. Smoke it too
right,
fast, it gets runs, it's too hot, burns up all the flavor and the oils that I'm trying to taste, and therefore it's
right.
just a bitter cigar because I smoke it too fast.
And then, you know, that word spreads, and and then heaven forbid it's someone that has a podcast or something, right? And it's like, I smoked it, and they give it a review, I didn't like it, and you're just like, well, why didn't you? Well, it burned kind of wonky. It's like, well, where was their humidor at? Oh, you don't like, you're allergic to Corojo, like whatever that
Yeah,
means, right?
right.
It's like, and you still did it, so um, there's a
Do
lot.
you
It isn't good.
do you also like when you talked about making sure that the I guess the retailers the and when I worked in retail, it was like I was part time, so it's like, do you even try to make sure like, hey, how many staff do you have that need to try my cigar? Are you focused on that?
Sure, sure. No, absolutely. We used to do, it's be like, hey, especially when you're trying to build the uh, when you're trying to build that brand in that specific shop, like, hey, how many employees do you have? Like, oh, there's me and, like, I got two other people that work here. I got a girl that works in the day, I got a guy that works at night, whatever. Like, cool, give me their t-shirt sizes, right? Their t-shirts, like, and take care of them. That is huge. Yeah, when you go visit stores, man, I've heard stories of people that go visit stores and kind of just like, just kind of walk past the guy on the counter, only want to talk to the manager or the owner or the buyer. There's stories from stores that you and I know very well that the broker or the rep just like told the wife, like, no, I'll wait for the male owner. All right.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? Right. So, um, don't think of yourself too, like, you just don't think of yourself that way. It's like, say hi to everybody, right?
Well, yeah, and you just
Take
want
care of everybody.
you want them to experience the cigar, and if they have questions about it, that they get those questions answered. But more importantly,
Yeah.
that they experience the cigar, and then, like you said, they can go and recommend it to the people that
Right.
they know that smoke that
Right.
type of cigar. I think I love that.
But even
And
that positive experience with me, right? Like, oh,
right,
he didn't just walk by. He gave me a shirt and a cigar, and he said, "What's up?" Like, oh, that was a cool interaction. And then they stay in your mind maybe, and they suggest you next time. So anyway.
exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. That leads me to the question that I think, I don't know. We already talked about it a little bit before this, but what
But
makes or breaks a brand? And you said it earlier, and I need you to just land on one thing, because there's so many variables. You talk about quality, you talk about this, that, and the other thing, and I just want the
oh man,
one thing you think really makes or breaks a brand.
oh, yeah, I said so much. In this specific industry, man, one thing. This is tough, so I may change my answer later. But um, the amount of, I guess, for lack of a better word, caring, right?
You
So
said
do you?
likability earlier. You said likability,
Okay,
and I thought that's where you were going to go just
sure.
now. But
Okay, well,
I
it
like
kind of
that
blends,
caring. Yeah, it
right?
does.
Yeah.
But
So
explain people what that
so
means
I
to you.
mean, one, you care about your product, you care about how it's presented, you care about the store that you're sending it to, you care about the end customer that's buying that um, product, right? The likability comes in where it's like, well, I like this guy because he takes care of everything he says he's going to, and then he treats my customer right. He's interactive when he comes and does events. He's interactive on social media. He comes and does a podcast when we ask him to, or meets our customers, right? So all of that comes down to it. So in this industry where it's very, very relationship based and friend based, um, that word of likability is huge, right? Because I know stores that, like I was saying, that have cigars don't really sell that well, but they like their rep, or they like their broker, or they like the brand, they like the owner, and it's like, no, it's I like that guy, so we want to put him in here, right? So
Right.
um, that's that's one thing. I don't think it's the only thing, but you're much better off with this kind of in your foundation of building any company, really. Once you go to start selling, right? Like you alluded to earlier, it's like you can get cigars, you can get bands made, boxes made, you can get cigars in front of you. It's the selling them later is the tougher part, right? So
that's
come from somewhere.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that I'm always curious on is you have so much work ahead of you after you get that product. And I cannot empathize with you because I have no idea what that takes. I just know that you're doing something right because
100%.
you've already got, Henderson over at Ventura William Cigar Factory is the way I say it. How do you say it again?
Tabacalera William Ventura.
Thank you. That's the right way to say it. I love that.
It's on the bottom of the box. You can practice.
Yes. Bottom of the box. And two, well, one, I want to finish that statement. That to me is not everything because like you said, you could go to another factory and get something made in Nicaragua. You could go to another factory in the DR and get something made great. So that's not everything because I think you have a guiding role in how your cigar is going to turn out.
Right.
But I do think that what you've said is you had a great connection with Henderson. You guys just seem to speak to each other and understand each other. And I think that to me is the more important part is how well does so-and-so cigar brand work with this cigar blender? And then you get to taste that right here. Like that's what we do every day is we go, oh, wow, I like that. And really what you're liking is the fact that these two people collaborated to make something great. Right. And that's what excites me about a brand.
True. Yeah. And then, it's off to the races. And then of course, unfortunately, next is the next question. All right. So you're just like, all right, that was great. That was success. And we got to kind of forget about that. And what's next? All right. And hopefully, do it again and continue that same relationship or that same flow that we had and creativity and stuff. And just, it seems to be going that way, that we're on the same page and we kind of see the direction we're going. So now it's just executing and making sure we were right. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, the overarching name of your company is Baracoa?
Baracoa, yeah. So
where does that originate from?
So Baracoa is a city on the east coast of Cuba. It was the original capital of Cuba. And it's the first spot Christopher Columbus landed when he got to Cuba in 1492. So my original partner that I had in the company had family from there, and it just kind of rolled, and I liked it. I liked the way it kind of, just what it means is one of the first spots in the New World that was discovered, and kind of the nautical theme, and so that's kind of where all that comes from.
And is that why you called this the Voyage right away?
The Voyage for us was like, that's our maiden voyage into the cigar industry. It was our first shot. It was our first try. And that was it. So this is my voyage into the cigar industry. And, that's why now the relaunch of that same voyage is back out. And we're going to do it a little different this time. So we're excited.
Love it. Where can people go to get this cigar? Where should we go to find out where to get it?
Yeah. One, follow me on social media. I'm usually pointing people, around there. It is kind of a tiptoeing line between, what stores you kind of talk about or not. But like you mentioned, Sun Cigar, suncigar.com still has some boxes available from the event. There's also smallbatch.com has them. I don't know what their inventory is left. And then I think there's some at Brett Ecology has Hogshead, Boiling Springs, and I'm going to end it there because I'm just
I
don't
a
want
lot.
accident. Yeah, there's a lot. So,
but your handles,
but those are guys with online. So
your handles we'll post in the comments. But you're on Instagram. You're at _Danny_Vazquez.
Vazquez.
Vazquez.
That's right.
So that is your handle where you can see
Right.
a lot of the stuff that you're doing, especially the events. And then the company handle is at Baracoa Cigar?
Cigar. Yep, Cigar Co. Yeah.
Cigar Co. So Baracoa
Yeah.
Cigar Company Co. That's also available for people to go and look and see where it's going to be released.
Yeah.
And you're doing an event tomorrow at Executive Cigar Shop it's in Sanford, right outside of Orlando.
Yeah, just outside of Orlando, Sanford, Florida. Beautiful shop. I did a little Instagram live video of it yesterday. Glass humidor, big bar. It's on water. It's beautiful. So, we're excited about that. And, we're literally going to end this, get in the car, and we're heading out there. We're going to do a little just session, got a dinner tonight, and then tomorrow's just going to be a huge, huge party. So anyone in Central Florida area, come on, man. We're going to have a good time.
Awesome. Dude, Danny, thank you so much. Thank you for re-releasing this. And I'm just pleased to be able to enjoy it and see what you're doing. And I remember talking to you back when I went and toured RomaCraft, and you gave me an excellent tour. And I was like, hey, how did you get started? And you're like, this brand, and it came out in 2016, and it didn't really go anywhere because of the predicate dates. And I just thought, man, this guy's got some talent that we just haven't fully seen yet. And I'm so glad to see it. I mean, thank you so much for being on this show.
No, man, anytime, man. I was there before you got married, before you had a baby, right? So
yes, you were.
I've known you. But no, man, I appreciate you buying that box of cigars. That's huge support. That's how you support somebody, not just telling them you support them, right? So I appreciate that, Rob. And dude, anytime. I love what you guys are doing at Boveda and also with the podcast and stuff, man. Let me know anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us. Danny, have a great weekend and have a fun time at your party that's going to be happening at Executive Cigar Shop and Lounge. So
appreciate it.
Everyone else, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for leaving the comments. It was a pleasure to join you this Friday. The Voyage, it's out. Get your hands on it. We will post some stuff in the comments so you know where to go. Thank you all. Have a